40X is moving seats, and you have
you
features.
have that?
Yes, you've got winds, you've got scents,
What sort of
smells,
scent?
whatever. So like tires, for example, like rubber.
Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Oh, well, there's a lot of rubber spinning sound there, yeah.
Thank you so much for sitting down with us today. We are very excited to bring Furiosa to the big screen.
She's from a place of abundance. This is our destiny.
My childhood, my mother, I want them back. I want them back.
Speaking of the big screen, we're not just bringing it to the big one, but the biggest one, because it's going to be in IMAX.
Oh, fantastic.
And one of the questions I had for you is, when you are filming this content and when you're making the movie, how much do you think about what it's going to look like on such a giant screen?
You do all the time. You know that it's the optimal place to see the movie. We put so much work into the image, of course, but also the sound. The sound technology now is advancing all the time. You can do things that you couldn't even a few years ago, and where if it's carefully crafted, every sound has a significance. It's not just filling in the space. It's every sound helps tell the story and works in concert with the image. So to see it on that big screen is like the, peak experience of the movie is the hope. We certainly work towards that.
Not just sound, but also action is very important for especially the Mad Max franchise.
Yeah.
And I've heard that you use action to really tell the story. And at Cineworld, we have 40X. Are you aware of 40X?
No.
So 40X is moving seats, and you have
you
features.
have that?
Yes, you've got winds, you've got scents,
What sort of
smells,
scent?
whatever. So like tires, for example, like rubber.
Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Oh, well, there's a lot of rubber spinning sound there, yeah. And
Yes, flowers and all sorts of scents.
how do they get rubber smell?
There's little scent cannons that get shot in line with whatever is happening. Yeah.
And so there's scent. And did you say water?
Water, yeah. So water sprays out at you from the front if it's something that's shooting at you, but then also from the ceiling when it's raining, and then there's fog machines and bubble machines and all sorts.
You're kidding?
Yeah. So I was wondering, with obviously the action being such part of the story, do you think that this is the kind of format that would be amazing to really feel physically part of the story?
Oh, yes. I mean, yes, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, when we do the sound, what I really like is the subwoofers where you actually feel the seat movement. And that sort of takes you into the experience much more than you can do otherwise. You're not outside of it. Yeah. You're much closer. You basically get drawn into the screen more.
And we also have ScreenX, which is a 270-degree experience. So you've got the front screen, but then you also have peripheral vision on the sides.
Oh, yeah. I've heard.
Without giving spoilers, do you think there's one specific scene or one specific sort of setting where you think being really sort of immersed in that experience would be especially impactful?
Well, I'd like to think that a lot of the sequences are like that. Even the sequences that are indoors, there's certain dynamics to the scenes where you can feel the space that you're in. But certainly on the big action set pieces, where they're quite kinetic and it's coming at you from every direction. That would be a great experience, yeah.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah. And speaking of the stunts, I've heard that you are very big on doing stunts for real.
Yes.
So is there one stunt, again, without giving spoilers, one stunt that you think that people won't really believe is actually real because it's so hard to make?
There's a lot, gosh. There are certainly moments where that are like that. But for me, the key thing is the way that it all flows together, the way that you sort of carried along on the wave of experience. And in that, there are things that I think if you could be outside of it, you say, well, how did they do that? And how did that happen? I mean, I think it's the overall experience rather than one. Off the top of my head, I can't really.
No, fair enough.
Yeah.
And then final question, we'd like to ask everyone this. What is your favorite thing about seeing a film in the cinema experience?
For me, by far the most favorite thing is to experience it with other people. You know, when I was a kid, we'd go to what we used to call the Saturday matinee in the rural town where we grew up. And to be there with all the other kids in town, laughing at the comedies and hearing the laughter and, you know, being amazed at the sort of, I don't know, whatever the Westerns were on, that was a big deal. I remember going to drive-ins when they used to have drive-ins. And I remember people sitting in cars, but when there's something really exciting on the screen and they wanted to share it with other people, they'd flash their headlights.
Oh, wow.
So the screens would flash basically be flashed out with light. But it was a way for the audience to, in other words, share the experience with someone else. And that's always my favorite thing, where you're aware of everyone else's experience.
There will always be war, but to get home, Furiosa fought the world.